Welcome everyone to Leicester and a very familiar snooker venue. This is the Mattioli Arena, which for the next 6 days stages 3 more groups in the BetVictor Championship League. Hossein Vafai, Sijia Wee, world champion Kyron Wilson and former world champion Mark Selby are through to next month's winners group already, where 3 spots are still to be filled. Today and tomorrow, it's a very attractive Group 4, featuring a trio of Crucible Kingpins, headlined by Judd Trump and Neil Robertson. In fact, Robertson gets the ball rolling on Table 2 against Matt Selt, while our main coverage on Table 1 begins with a Trump doubleheader. A little later, the world number 1 takes on Stuart Bingham. First, though, Leicester's own Tom Ford provides Trump's opposition. I'm Phil Yates. Joining me today will be Stephen Hallworth and Ben Wollaston. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road.
Judd, break, okay, thank you. Judd, have a good
Group
game.
5 in the BetVictor Championship League is about to begin, and it is Trump against Ford.
If we could wait for the cue, okay,
in a
that's great.
Match that
We've had to go
over
back.
the years has produced some very entertaining snooker, as you might expect, given the playing styles of these 2 players. So, Ben, I think it's fair to say that we're going to see plenty of attacking snooker over the next couple of days with the 7 players involved.
Yeah, Tom and Judd, they're very attacking players. And I think the Championship League players are a bit more relaxed because no ranking points. So they do seem to play more free-flowing.
Plenty of meetings between these 2. Trump leads 12-4 in head-to-heads in tournaments outside of the Championship League. When it comes to this particular event, they've played 3 times. Trump has prevailed twice. Now that's a shot that Ford's fellow man of Leicester, Mark Selby, plays brilliantly. That occasion though, Ford just caught the Reds a little too thick, and the first really good chance falls to the runaway world number 1.
What?
Trump over 640,000 points ahead of anyone else in the rankings. Nice cushion to have, Ben.
Yeah, he's been the most dominant player in snooker for the last 5-6 years. There's no doubt about that. What he's doing in this era of snooker is quite incredible, I think.
$15. $16.
Well, not appropriate to criticise that, but not quite on the correct side of the blue.
21. Judd Trump, 21.
The distinctive voice of the referee, John Pellew, from South Wales. A stalwart in the Championship League, actually.
Good safety there from Tom. I think the yellow's blocked the left-hand side of the reds and the blue's covering the right-hand side. So I think Judd's going to play the 2 cushions to clip the reds back into bulk. He's done the same as Tom did. He caught them too thick, but first, not sure if he's got away with it or not. By Tom's reaction, I think he has.
One.
Well, not only a very accurate shot, a very sensible one also. Blocking the path to the red with the blue should he miss it. But he got nothing but net. But then, as good as the first shot was, the second not up to muster.
Yeah, Tom will be disappointed. He only made eight from there, especially after that first red.
This is only best of 5 frames, but they have played some lengthy multiple session matches. Actually, they've drawn each other in the World Championship on 4 occasions. Ford prevented Trump from qualifying in 2010, beat him 10-3 in the final qualifying round. But actually at the Crucible, Trump has won all 3 of their meetings. A couple of narrow wins in 2014 and 2020, both by 10 frames to 8, and then he won 13-7 in the last 16 of last year's championship. He's certainly done the majority of the heavy scoring when these two have played, but you can't score from there.
Yeah, he had to be really delicate there. It was difficult to get that safe, and he hasn't. So another good chance for Tom in this first frame.
One.
Of course, Ben, he's playing at the Mattioli Arena for the first time since he won the snooker shootout. Finally won a world ranking title. In very dramatic circumstances, actually. He beat Wu Yize in the semi-finals in a blue ball shootout, and then edged Liam Graham in the final by just 3 points. He actually played down his achievement there, I thought, Ford, saying that it isn't really a ranking event. But the fact is, it is a ranking event. You can't take it away from him, and he's done well to win it.
Yeah, you still got to hold yourself together and pot the balls, but I know, you know, as Tom, I know what he means, because he won't class it as a full final.
16.
You know, he says that you should go to bed before the final for it to count as a ranking event. But yeah, considering Tom had been struggling this season, I think it'll give him a big boost for the rest of the year. He's always been in the top few players in my mind, and most of the players that have not won a ranking event.
24.
He's definitely one of the best. You know, he's been a great player for years, really heavy scorer, made quite a lot of 147s as well. So yeah, he deserved it, really.
Yeah, I sort of put him in the same category as David Gilbert, who hadn't won a ranking title before he won the ranking version of this event.
32.
No doubt about it, he's got the credentials and the ability, and now he's got one on the CV. World number 19 at the moment, Tom Ford.
$39. $40.
Well, so far this is the blueprint for success in professional snooker. Play a troublesome snooker, force an opportunity, make the most of it. Now, this is a very specific shot, but that one he's just played there with running side
47.
off the black, I think he plays that really well.
Yeah, a lot of players worry about playing that shot, but Tom, I know it doesn't affect him at all. He just sees it as a very straightforward shot, but it is one of the trickiest shots you can play, break building shots. But Tom, yeah, does seem one of the best players at this shot.
$55. Tom Ford, 55.
So close to winning the frame there. He was just looking at potting that red, getting the right angle on the pink to probably develop the three reds, but now he's left Judd possible counter chance in this frame.
One.
And so often in this Championship League, we've seen a case where the first frame of the day really affects how the rest of the day goes for a particular player, good or bad.
8.
Yeah, it can be. The first match is always quite important in this tournament, because you just don't want to get on a bad run, and if you do lose your first or second match, it can get out of hand, and you know, all of a sudden you can be looking at relegation.
Nine.
Deserved a little more than that, with the cue ball and the
16.
black so close together. That was quite a ticklish shot.
Foul.
And he certainly deserved more than that. He might have left a free ball here.
16 Judd Trump, 4 Tom Ford.
Yeah, worst possible result there for Judd, going in off. And if it is a free ball, you'd expect that to be the end of the frame, really.
If Ford pots free ball and then either blue, pink or black,
Blue ball.
Trump will need a snooker.
One.
Not the best of shots on the black.
8.
You'd like to see the back of this red to avoid any messing around.
9. $15. Top Ford 15 and the frame.
As we suspected, the first frame, quite a quick affair, and it's Tom Ford who wins it. Good morning again from the Mattioli Arena, where Tom Ford is taking a 1-0 lead over Judd Trump. As for table 2, well, Neil Robertson and Matthew Selt still involved in their first frame. Robertson leads by 18, nothing decisive at all. By reaching the semi-final of the Masters last week, he lost to Kyron Wilson in the last 4, did Trump. By reaching the semi-finals, he shattered the all-time prize money record for a season already. And there's so many big events left. It's extraordinary what he's done, actually.
Yeah, they were calling it the Trump Slam, weren't they? He'd won the UK and Saudi, and then he was after the Masters and the World. But obviously the Masters didn't go his way on Saturday night. It's impressive, I think, to see Judd here. I wasn't sure if he'd definitely play this tournament because he lost late Saturday night in such a big event, but it's very impressive and professional to see him here this morning.
Yes, he's involved in the German Masters next week in Berlin. Got David Grace there. But he's not playing in the Welsh Open. Didn't enter that. So after the German, I presume he'll go back to Hong Kong, where he's now based, and get ready for the World Open and the World Grand Prix. I think he's got enough points to qualify for the World Grand Prix, don't you? I think he's got enough points to qualify for everything 10 times over.
Yeah, it's definitely a good position to be in, knowing that you don't need to play in events because you're already in all the Players Series events because he's that far in front.
Foul.
He missed 3 different reds, all by small margins.
Judd Trump.
But I'm sure that cue ball's going to go back.
Yeah. Yeah, more to the right. For me, please, Tom. Okay. Check that. Yeah, thank you.
So that's the second miss. I'm pretty
miss
sure he won't be
for
playing the same shot again
Judd Trump.
if Judd does put him back.
Put it back.
Maybe Tom will go for a difficult long red here.
The check out for me, please, Tom. Because he sent the ball of that to red.
It's white's just a bit further back.
A little bit further back.
Trump seemed in very good spirits.
Right,
I suppose if you got over £1 million up by mid-January, you would be.
One.
As we walked into the commentary box, Ben,
3.
Judd and his brother Jack were out there on the practice table. So he's not taking this lightly at all. Comes in, yes, with a relaxed attitude. Of course, that's the case.
4.
But he would love to get another title under his belt and regain Championship League supremacy.
Yeah, I've heard Judd say a few times that he treats every tournament the same, which I do believe him. He wants to win every single tournament he plays in. It's only, you know, the public and the media that consider obviously tournaments bigger, which, you know, some of them are, but he just wants to win every match and every tournament he's in.
Thank you.
Won the Championship League in 2014, and indeed 5 years before that.
11.
The second staging of the event actually beat Mark Selby in the final 3-2. And that 2009 triumph was a big deal for him. It predated his first ranking title by a couple of years.
I think last week Dave Hendon was telling me that as well, that Judd thinks won the most prize money ever in the Championship League as well, if I'm not mistaken, which, you know, he's won more prize money than anyone this season, but he's the most successful in the Championship League on prize money.
Yeah, I think he'd like to be his bank manager.
19.
And as you say, good on him, because his attitude is spot on. Much like all of the greats of the game.
$27. $28.
Another category he leads. Most centuries compiled
35.
this season. 49. So is he going to make it 50 at this visit? The odds are stacked against him because these balls are not ideal. But sometimes when it comes to building breaks, he can work wonders.
$41. $42.
He made one of the best ever clearances I've seen, actually, to win a match against Stephen Maguire in the Players' Championship a few years back. And of course, to win the jackpot in Saudi Arabia, he was 62-0 down in the deciding frame against Mark Williams and cleared up with 72 to win on the black. Considering what was at stake, Ben, I think that's one of the most extraordinary achievements in the game.
Yeah, that one break was for £300,000. So, yeah, with the clearances, you got to look, you know, how important they were as well, not just where the balls were, but, you know, in the situation, it was an incredible clearance.
Neil Robertson is just about to ink the first frame against Matthew Selt. Ford given a reprieve here by a poor positional shot from Trump. speculated on that
Good, Trump.
unlikely plant, knowing he was taking the cue ball up into baulk.
One.
Now, I've noticed this with Tom Ford over the years. When he gets a fluke, he seems almost embarrassed about it. I don't think he's guilty, and he shouldn't be, but he does seem embarrassed when he gets flukes, because he knows how he feels when someone gets a fluke against him.
Yeah, Tom would be the first to admit he doesn't take flukes against him that well.
6.
Yeah, he's probably guilty for a few seconds maybe, but then I'm sure he takes full advantage, like he's hoping he will do in this break.
We were just there talking about clearances, Ben, and Ford was the victim of the finest clearance I've ever
13.
seen. And that might seem embellishment, exaggeration.
I know which break you're talking about. Yeah.
The Mark Williams clearance in the first round of the Tour Championship in Manchester back in the spring. Williams, of course, went on to capture the title. I still can't believe when I see replays of it that he actually did it.
Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous, because I don't think Mark Williams played that great in that match. It was a bit,
21.
both of them struggled a bit. But yeah, how he found that clearance, I'll never know.
Ford did miss a ball he should have potted, but even so, he must have left Manchester cursing his luck, because the chances of Williams clearing up from where he did, well, to say it was 1 in 1,000, I think that would be underdoing it.
Yeah, sometimes as a player, when you miss, you know, you think, well, that could cost me the frame. But when you did miss that ball,
29.
Tom, he would never, ever have thought Mark could clear up. He would have thought he's coming back to the table. But obviously, the further the break went on by Mark, he would have started fearing the worst the longer it went on. And yeah, he was unlucky that Mark cleared up there.
Yeah, Williams was jet-lagged. He had lost a big lead. Everything, it seemed, was against him. And yet, miraculously, he won the match. And then, after a good night's sleep, he was a different animal and played beautifully in the rest of the tournament.
38.
I think he's landed quite nicely on this brown in the middle pocket. Tom's developing in these reds and looking more and more likely that it could be a chance to win the frame. I've put the curse on Tom there, sorry.
Tom Ford, 38. One.
So Trump needs brown, red colour.
Five. Six.
And for the man whose prize money this season is well into 7 figures, it's another 100 quid in the skyrocket.
Yeah, I think Judd will be relieved, even though it's only second frame of the day. You don't want to go too long without winning a frame, so yeah, he'll be happy to go 1-1 in this match.
16. 20. And the frame.
Indeed, Trump does equalise in this race to 3. It is 1-1. Judd Trump, the player of the season so far, coming to the table for frame 3, looking to forge ahead of Tom Ford.
Thank you. Third frame, Judd Trump to break.
There's been an awful lot of snooker played so far this season, so I think it might be useful to just remind ourselves of what Trump has done. Won the Shanghai Masters, got to the final of the Xi'an Grand Prix, won the Saudi Arabia Masters in thrilling circumstances. Great shot from Ford there. Semi-finalist in the Wuhan Open. Runner-up in the Northern Ireland Open. Winner of the UK Championship. Semi-finalist at the Masters. So Trump should be oozing confidence.
4.
But sometimes this Championship League, the format can be a little unforgiving, and if you catch an opponent on form, a match can be over in no time.
Tom Ford.
Just been looking at Tom and Judd's reaction, because I think this table just got re-clothed, so it's a brand new cloth. I think they're struggling a bit with the speed of the table and the cushions. So you see them both have a little joke with themselves. But when the table's new, it does take a couple of frames for the cushions to start bouncing the normal speed like players would expect. They're just a little bit slow normally for the first couple of frames.
Yeah, I remember an ITV event a few years ago. The first match was Neil Robertson against Peter Ebdon, and the table was very poor, and you think, oh, could be problems here. By that evening it was fine, and the rest of the week it played beautifully. So you're right, there is that bedding in process.
Yeah, it's not always, but just most of the time it's just off the cushions. They are a bit softer and slower. So, you just got to hit the ball a bit harder, but then normally after, as I said, a few frames or a few hours, it gets back to how they expect it to be.
1.
That was a swerve. The side he put on helped the red go in, but it didn't help the cue ball.
Tom Ford, 1.
Had to be delicate there, and he was. Always in the back of your mind, Ben, there's the fear of not reaching the brown and placing yourself in a snooker.
Yeah. Tom, just knew he just wanted to block off the left-hand side of the table, otherwise it would have been an easy escape for Judd just to roll into the pack. So now Judd's going to try and come off 2 cushions now with his right hand. He's judged it, it looks perfectly.
Just playing right-handed at bridge over a brown.
Trump isn't as good right-handed as O'Sullivan is left-handed, but he's pretty useful.
Touching ball.
Yeah, I think obviously Ronnie was the first one really to start playing with the opposite hand, and definitely the standards got better in tournaments. I've seen Luca play quite a few great shots with his opposite hand in the Masters. There's a few players that have good with that opposite hand, but Ronnie's definitely the best.
In Group 6 later this week, Jack Lazowski will make his entrance. Now, sometimes when he plays right-handed, you feel as though you want to put your hands across your face because you're very concerned he's going to miss. But he's convinced he's better right-handed than when he's stretching over with the rest, so up to him. What a great talent, though, Lazowski. Hope he plays well this week because he's a joy to behold.
Yeah, he's great to watch, Jack. I always think most players look better left-handed. No idea why, but it just seems better to watch than they look more natural.
I can tell you on table 2, Neil Robertson has got a very good chance to score heavily and take a 2-0 lead over Matthew Selt. Right in amongst them.
Extended rest, yes.
Cheers.
Wants this to run past the middle pocket.
Good to see from Trump, treating the game, his opponent, the tournament with every respect. So we're just past the halfway point of this tournament. 4 groups in the books. We've got 3 regulation groups to come this week. And then the week after next, the winners group.
One.
All to play for. And the winner, the overall winner, is guaranteed a spot in the Champion of Champions next season. Interesting how that's working out, Ben. We've had 6 qualifying events so far and 6 different winners.
Yeah, it just shows how competitive it is.
Few oohs and ahs from Tom Ford as he tried to reach that one. Of course, at the last Championship League, the ranking version back in the summer, he played 1 match and pulled out, lost to Barry Pinches, said he got an injured foot, and that put the group in turmoil. In the end,
5.
the beneficiary was Robbie McGuigan. The 3 remaining players all won 1 match, but he had a better frame difference, did McGuigan.
Yeah, I guess that's strange to get through a group winning 1 match in a group stage, but obviously, as you said, there was only 3 of them in the groups. So, yeah, unusual circumstances.
Of course, I felt sorry for Barry Pinches, who'd beaten Tom in a shock, let's face it. And that result was annulled. Again, Trump prepared to be patient. So it seemed as though Trump was in charge of the frame. Then Ford put him in an awkward position. And this is the fruit.
One.
Ford knows what it takes to beat Trump. We talked about that final qualifying round of the
6.
World Championship in 2010. Much more recently, in a period when Trump was established as one of the game's very best, Ford beat him 4-3 in the last 16 of the World Grand Prix in 2021.
Sam.
Perceptive, Ben, you were about those cushions. They are a little soft still.
You can just see from Tom's reaction a few times that he looks really surprised that it's not coming off quicker. Don't think Tom's on a red here.
Little unlucky that, because it wasn't a bad split. Can tell you on table 2, Neil Robertson currently enjoying his second bite of the scoring cherry. He's going to take a 2-0 lead over Matthew Selt. Yeah, so Robertson certain to make an agreeable start.
52.
Next up on table 2, by the way,
58.
someone who's chasing a professional snooker world record over the next couple of days or this week. Jack Jones
59.
up against Joe O'Connor. Jones in the first 4 groups has made 20 centuries. Now the record for one player in any professional event is 23 centuries. Matthew Selt and Karen Wilson both in this tournament. So Jones needs 4 more to become a world record holder. I don't know whether he knows that.
I think he does. Speaking to him in the last group, he says, "Oh, I'm already on 16 centuries." So yeah, I think he does know about it. So maybe the closer he gets, he might start thinking about it. But yeah, he's definitely got a good chance of breaking it.
Well, when Karen Wilson did it initially,
8.
I thought no one would get near. Then, of course, Selt equalled it. And now, well, let's just say that Jones plays as well as he did
9.
in the first phase of the tournament, and he stays in a couple of groups this week. I think it's a certainty that the record's going to go.
Yeah, I'd think if he stays at least to group 6, I think he'll break the record, yeah, because he needs 4 more. I think he could still do it just in this group, but if he can play 2 more groups, I think that'll be enough for him to break the record.
14. 15.
'The little pack of 3 reds just below the pink spot will be the key to this frame.
21. 22.
Just at the left of these 3 reds.
59.
As well played as it was, well predicted. And now the frame's very much at Trump's mercy.
30.
Now that was all about adapting.
37.
Hit that one a little more crisply than he normally would.
38.
Yeah, he would be thinking, I just need to hit this just slightly harder than I normally would, because it's going to come off a little bit slower off the black cushion, and he played it to perfection. See, Judd there looked a little surprised that he didn't come higher on this
55.
red, but it still shouldn't be a problem.
46. $52. 53.
Think is not only frame ball, it's also for the highest break of the match so far. Superseding a 55 from Ford in the
59.
opening frame.
$61. Judd Trump, 61.
2 snookers needed by Tom Ford, and there's no concession.
Frame conceded.
There is now.
Judd Trump.
So, Judd Trump, after falling 1-0 behind, finds himself 2-1 in front. Will the big gun fire in his first match of this BetVictor Championship League Group 5? Judd Trump 2-1 ahead.
Thank you.
That
All
means
fair.
Tom Ford
Tom
needs the
Ford
last
to
couple of
break.
frames to eke out a victory. Over on table 2, a little slower going. Neil Robertson 2-0 up on Matthew Selt. What a beautifully controlled shot that was from Judd Trump. Right into the heart of the pocket. Now, if he could make a big break here, apart from the fact it would wrap up a very useful victory, it would also be useful in the sense that he plays next against Stuart Bingham. So you would have lots of table time and become accustomed
6
to conditions.
Sam. $14. $15. $22. $23.
Well, it was nicely played. Let's hope he's on the pink. Deserves to be, but there's clearly some doubt.
He just played it with a touch of right hand side, but don't think too much, but it was obviously very tight.
$29 wicket. $30.
I
37.
think he'll be possibly topping through these reds. No, he's going low, so probably back up for the blue. He's gone through him.
38.
Nice kiss on the blue there.
Yes, and also on the red that hit the green.
$43. $44.
Really thumped that, did Trump, and he's still not where he quite wanted to be. The cushions will speed up, there's no doubt about that, but right now they're quite stodgy.
$49.
Nice
50.
recovery there from Judd. Wasn't easy, hampered over that red, a thin cut. But now he's back in good position.
Now, Ben, that's one of your great strung points, recovery pots, it can really hurt opponents because they might expect to get back to the table. Trump knocked that one in. Ford must have thought it's all over, but Trump's positional shot off the blue wasn't judged as well as he would have liked. Again, foxed by the slowness of the cushions.
Yeah, I get a little bit of stick for my cue ball, but it doesn't bother me. But I sort of play a bit on it. Yeah, you just got to... Some people are more affected when they're out of position. You just got to play the next shot, you know, where you land. So give it the best.
56.
And Judd's recovered again though with a nice double.
Yeah, that's his second double of this match, where the red he's knocked in has been quite some way from the cushion, so that's a really tough one to judge, and he's done it brilliantly. So now he's just a couple of pots away from victory.
63.
He played the double in a clever way, because if he missed it, he was only really leaving the red that he was going for on the double, so it was sort of a slight shot to nothing 64. As well, so it was cleverly played.
$71. $72.
Now the frame is well secured. Trump looking for what would be his 50th century of the season. Just as I say that, I think hopes have been extinguished.
79. Judge Trump 79 and free.
Only 79, but it is a victory for Judd Trump. Both players clearly not happy with the way the table is playing, in particular the cushions. But I think that will improve as this group goes on. And if Trump improves as the group goes on, he will be mightily difficult to beat. Next up, he remains out there on table one against another former world champion, Stuart Bingham. That's coming your way in around 5 minutes.
Very warm welcome back to Leicester. It's the BetVictor Championship League invitation version. It's day 9 of 16 here, and we're here involved with Group 5. As we wait for the players, or well, Judd to arrive on Table 1, let's quickly dip in to Table 2, just across the other side of the arena. Check out what's happening over there. Neil Robertson taking on Matthew Selt. Neil Robertson, of course, a late call-up for the Masters last week. Had a brilliant comeback against John Higgins in round 1, but then lost out to the eventual champion and the imperious Shaun Murphy. What a brilliant display that was from Shaun last night. Matthew Selt looking to try and get back into this match. Matt Selt, of course, he seems like a player that is always involved in this Championship League. Holds the joint record with Kyron Wilson for the most centuries made in Championship League a few seasons ago. That can often be the case when you feature in the early groups here and then continue through the event. 7 groups to be played before the winners group will start. 4 players already into the hat for the winners group. Hossein Vafan, the 5th player to join them tomorrow evening. Alongside me for this one, Ben Wollaston, and Ben, myself and Phil have worked it out. Jack Jones is still here in Group 5. He started in Group 1. He's on £18,900 prize money earned so far for the event, and it just goes to show how fruitful this tournament can be for the players if you feature in a lot of the groups.
Yeah, especially if he wins one of these groups and then gets to the final group, we could be looking at 30,000 plus, which is basically a final of most ranking events. So yeah, it can be a big tournament.
For the players as well, that, you know, they've, after Christmas, the new year comes and there's a lot of big events coming up, but not everyone is going to feature in those tournaments. You look at the calendar and it looks a pretty busy period, but only a select few of players are going to be involved in a lot of tournaments coming up. And for someone like Jack Jones, it's a great bit of match practice, as is, of course, for the likes of Neil Robertson as well. No surprises to see them here. Judd Trump as well, of course, world #1. Don't forget, the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel is where you can follow all the action live here on Table 2. But Judd Trump has arrived over on Table 1, so let's rejoin as we kick off our second match here on the Matchroom Pool YouTube channel. Judd, of course, staying out there in the arena after a 3-1 win over the shootout champion. Tom Ford, breaks of 61 and 79. Nothing to really write home about so far from Judd, but nice to see him here, isn't it, Ben? As you know, a lot of the big players get involved in this tournament, but lost out in the semi-final of the Masters last week, and I suppose he could have been forgiven, but decides to come here to keep the momentum going into the German Masters next week.
Yeah, it is impressive that he is here, because obviously it's only 36 hours ago he was losing in the semis of the Masters, which would have been a big disappointment for Judd. But yeah, I think he's using this, well, he likes to win every tournament he plays in, but also using this for the other tournaments later on in the season for some extra match practice. Judd showing his cue power there to get on the pink in the middle pocket.
I think you're right in what you say, though, about the disappointment from the Masters, and I think he will be really disappointed. He didn't really turn up, did he, against Kyron? He really struggled. He looked a little out of sorts, and it's not something we're used to seeing from Judd. Well, in every tournament he's played in this year, bar one, he's been in the quarterfinals at least. So, well, this season, dating back into last season as well. So it's an impressive record that he's got going.
I saw most of his first 2 matches in the Masters and he was almost faultless, so it would have been a shock, I guess, to Judd to not perform in that semi-final against Kyron, but it just shows you with snooker, you're never the same player from one day to the next, so however well you play, you've still got to produce it again.
Yeah, and it's something I hear down the club all the time. At any level, as you say, Ben, particularly amateur players and beginners, they'll say one day they feel like they're potting everything and they can't miss and everything's really good technically and all feels great, and then the next day they can't pot a ball. And I suppose it applies to the professional players as well. You think someone like Judd Trump, everything he's won in the game, the level that he plays to then dip, it is a shock to see him play like that, I suppose, but it just shows that it can happen.
Yeah, looking at Sean Murphy in that Masters, he played absolutely brilliant and was the best player from start to finish, without a doubt. And you look at his cue action and the way he played in that tournament, and you wonder how he ever loses. But it just shows you how difficult snooker is.
So Judd going well early on in this first frame, looking to stamp his authority. Straight in amongst the balls and looking to keep Stuart Bingham cold.
.47. .48. .53. .54.
So this black and the red down the top cushion means that he will need one of those reds by the pick. Clearly from the shot that he's played, the red at the top of the pack will pass to the left middle pocket, so
60.
one good shot here, get nicely on the black, and then doesn't need to disturb the pack of reds.
62.
Just looking at a possible plant just to the right of the pink spot. Thought he might hit that a little bit harder, but looks end of break.
60.
Yeah, I'm with you there. At that sort of pace, it looked almost impossible to land on a red. And at first glance, he isn't on one. So 69 points to the good, okay, but still 75 available. Doesn't really want to promote this red from beneath the black either, so there may be life left in this frame just yet.
Just trump.
And that was why he didn't
16.
want to promote that red. He's got the double kiss, which was unintended, trying to leave the cue ball behind the black. Snooker Bingham on all the reds, but he's bought that red out, and he has left the red very thin to the left middle pocket. Wonder if Stuart will be tempted, try and get the cue ball round the back of the black. It possibly is a free chance this for him to get himself going.
Yeah, there's no balls safe here, so Judd would ideally like a few balls safe. So I think Stuart might be forced into a red into the middle pocket here.
What?
Great shot. And even though he's 69 behind, you'd possibly put in favour for the frame.
That was a classic case of being backed into a corner and your shot selection being decided for you. Judd played a pretty decent shot to get that cue ball tight to that top cushion. Very much limiting what Stuart could do with that shot. Felt that it was time to attack, had nothing to lose really. Already well behind in this frame, but in getting the red, and it was a brilliant pot, as you said, Ben. Created a great chance for himself.
Seven.
The only thing with this, even though these four reds are in the open, you can only afford to take 2 pinks or 1 blue and the rest with blacks. So it won't be easy, especially with that red in the bulk.
Yeah, his main concern here will be trying to take blacks with these reds by the pink. That just gives him a little bit of wiggle room in terms of that red in the balk area. We're doing his best here to focus on making sure he gets top side of each red to get back for the black. These short matches, they can turn very, very quickly, and with it, the group as a whole, so Stuart will recognise this as a chance to land
20.
an early blow to Judd.
$29. $30. 30.
Just come up a little awkward on this pink. A little bit more of a stretch than he would have liked, but shouldn't be an issue. Pink takes him to 36, that's 33 behind with the final red, so pink or black off the last red needed. Oh, but he's completely come across that.
Stuart Bingham. 30.
So a big let off for Judd Trump, steps up and knocks in the routine red, and that's the end of this opening frame. That was a big chance for Stuart. He'll be really disappointed that he wasn't able to make that chance count. Just getting his money's worth here, carrying on 40 points behind.
2.
No real hope of winning the frame. Possibly just playing on for a little bit of table time. Well, look at this for a shot.
Stuart Bingham. 2.
One or two snookers is hard enough against any player on the tour. Never mind the world number one. The fact that Stuart needs 4 snookers will mean that he'll probably have to lay maybe 10 snookers before he gets all the penalty points. But there's one.
Three. 7.
Just another demonstration of what the players can do when the pressure is off. Trump just swinging these around, and look at this for a shot. I've lost count of how many cushions he's hit there. Oh, not to be with the long double, but the initial visit from Judd, more than good enough to take the opener. Kicking off from where he left on in match 1, he leads Stuart Bingham 1-0. It's Group 5 of the BetVictor Championship League here at the Mattioli Arena in Leicester. And that man there, the world number 1, has got off to a very good start today. A win over Tom Ford in his opener and has won the first frame here against Stuart Bingham, looking to press on. Remember, just to recap the format and the prize money structure, it's £100 per frame won in the group stages. 4 players, the top 4 players from the group standing come the end of the group matches tomorrow afternoon, will progress to the playoffs, where they effectively become 2 semi-final matches. The winners of them 2 will contest for a place in winners group. The prize money increases as well, £1,000 just for getting to those playoffs, £2,000 for the runner-up, £3,000 for winning the group, as well as the £300 a frame in the playoffs. So it can be a good little earner over the next couple of days for someone.
What? What?
I was looking at Stuart Bingham's record this season, Ben, and I think for a player of his class, it's been a very, very poor season so far. He's not been past the last 16 of any tournament this whole calendar season, so that's a pretty bizarre stat. I think it's fair to say. Someone like Stuart, you just expect him to be at the latter stages of any event he plays in, but not this year.
Yeah, that is an amazing stat, but obviously Stuart is probably the best person to ask. It doesn't take much though for your game to drop, so maybe he's not quite played as well this season or lost a few close matches.
7.
I remember he won an amazing match, well, unfortunate for Ding in Saudi Arabia. I think that was to get to the last 16, and maybe that could have been a great tournament. I can't remember who he lost to in the next round, but that was an incredible finish to that match.
Yeah, and if you don't know what happened in that game, then I strongly suggest you tap it into a search engine, because it was remarkable. Stuart Bingham has the nickname Ball Run, and what happened in that game, well, it's as if the gods were shining on him. Ding was well in front. Was it the deciding frame? And
I think he was about 40 in front, and he split the reds perfectly, so it's probably going to be matched to Ding. And his tip fell off his cue and hit one of the reds, so it was a foul for Stuart. Stuart still had to clear the table, but the balls were very nice. I've never seen anything like that in all the time I've been playing snooker. To lose a match with your tip hitting the red.
20.
oh, it's remarkable, isn't it? You think you've seen everything there is to see in this game, but something always crops up that just completely baffles you. That was one of their moments as Stuart looks to get into the pack of reds and try and get something going in this match. Had a great chance in that opener, but Mr. Pink completely queued across it. You could see, just having a little look at these reds at the back of the pack, he feels they may be close to a plant to this left corner pocket. If they are, he better make sure it's pretty much guaranteed, because all the reds will be opened. Well, he's missed it by a long way.
22.
Can only imagine that they went the wrong way, that he thought the reds would go the plant to miss it by that far, because he played it pretty confidently and quick. So that was a surprise that he missed it by that far. Judd's looking at just trying to pop this red into the green pocket. He's just looking where to leave the white if he did miss it, not to leave too much for Stuart.
Well, the red fails to find its target for Judd. He's done the calculations, felt like he wasn't going to leave too much, as we just quickly update you as to what's going on table 2. 2-0 down Matthew Selt was to the Thunder, but he's clawed his way back in, and we're going to a final frame shootout over on table 2. The Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel to keep an eye on that one as that first match over there concludes. Yeah, 2 each there, Matthew Selt, Neil Robertson, so a decider incoming. As Stuart Bingham pretty much immediately finds himself back in amongst the balls. Judd left the red to the middle pocket from attempting that red to the green pocket, so looking to put an end to this second frame very quickly, Stuart. These balls are very well situated.
$60. 70. 24. 25. 32. 33.
So the lead up to 62 for Stuart here, so he'll need red colour and one more
40.
red to be safe in this frame. Just underhit that slightly, so he's wrong side of the blue, so not ideal for the next red. I'll have to leave it from a little bit more distance than he would have liked, but you'd still expect him to pot this red.
46. 47.
Good response in this frame from Stuart, from missing that pink in the frame before when he had a good chance to clear up, so back on level terms.
54.
Yeah, I'm sure he was fearing the worst when he attempted that plant to left corner.
55.
Only 30 points to the good in this frame, leaving, it seemed, a lot on for Judd, but not able to get himself in. So he stepped up here, Stuart, and made a telling contribution to take this second frame.
61.
These groups, they're so hard to predict what's going to happen. And of course, there's a lot of matches to be played. Each player 6 group matches. I suppose the only thing we can confidently predict is that whoever's going to win this group, that they're going to beat Jack Jones in the final.
68.
Yeah, probably. Surely that's a record if Jack got to a final and this one 5 straight finals. I'm not sure if that is a record. I know players have gone through all 7 groups before, but I'm not sure if they'd have got to 5 straight finals.
Well, we'll soon find out, but as for now, Stuart Bingham has levelled things up. It's 1 apiece here at the BetVictor Championship League. one apiece here on table 1 at the BetVictor Championship League. It's 2 apiece over on table 2. Neil Robertson against Matthew Selt. That deciding frame has got underway. Judd Trump, of course, won his opening match here on table 1 against Tom Ford, 3-1. So currently sits at the head of the table, looking to extend his lead at the top should he register another win here. Just looking at the schedule as well, Judd has got 4 matches today, all of them of which will be played on this table. And Ben, you can do a lot of your damage early on in this format. If Judd can register probably 3 or 4 wins, say for argument's sake, it would pretty much cement his place in the playoffs come tomorrow.
Yeah, 4 wins, yeah, definitely gets you to the semi-finals. 3 wins, you're pretty much there as well, yeah. So well, he'll be aiming for all 4 wins, but 3 out of 4 would be a pretty good day also. Nice shot there by Judd, screwing off the reds, landing perfect on the black.
Yeah, brilliant demonstration of control. Low on the red, using the pack to control the cue ball, back out for the black. Was just hoping that a red ball wouldn't cover the path of the black, which it didn't. Oh, what a chance this is for Judd.
8. No.
Well, Jack Jones has already made a 147 in this event, in the second group. And this is a great chance to keep himself on the black for as long as possible. And you know that someone like Judd, he'll be going for it, won't he?
60.
Yeah, it'd definitely be in his mind, I'd imagine, already.
$70.
We was just talking off air. The maximum that Sean Murphy made last week at the Masters, I don't think you'll ever see a better chance for a maximum. When he came to the table, the first red and black were certainly missable. But once he negotiated them,
24.
the chance was all there. He just had to stand up as Judd disappoints us. What's he done there?
Yeah, that shot was going to tell you if he was going for the 147 or not. He could have possibly played for the black, but obviously he wasn't interested.
28. $29.
Either way, it's a very good chance to score a few points this for Judd. The first red was excellent, really. Controlling the reds and getting back for the black.
36.
Quick fire stuff this on table 1. We're already a match and a half in before the match on table 2. The first match of the day on table 2 has even concluded.
37. $44. $45. 51.
Nice recovery there from Judd, top side of the blue, so back in perfect position.
$57. 58.
Again, top side of the blue, brought all those three reds perfectly into play. So Judd will be thinking about a century now.
He's just dangerous in any format, isn't he, Judd Trump? Doesn't matter what the event is, what the format is. You know what you're going to get.
63.
He's world #1 for a reason.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect him to go 2 matches without a century. It's unusual he goes 1 match without a century, so I'd expect him to make one here.
It's amazing to think just how far he could take his century tally. You know, it only felt like yesterday that there was a big fanfare around the fact that Ronnie O'Sullivan reached 1,000. Well,
72.
Judd Trump is already on 1,029 for his career, still only 35 years of age, with an awful amount of time still ahead of him. Where's that figure going to get to, Ben?
I think it'll get close to possibly 2,000. 1,500, I think,
78.
definitely. But it's just how long he plays for as well. But yeah, I think he'd go somewhere close to 2,000.
Oh, well, that's a
Judd
shame.
Trump,
No
78
century
on
break
the
from
frame.
Judd Trump, but a 78 to back up the 69 made in frame 1. The world #1 in a commanding position. He leads Stuart Bingham 2 frames to 1. The world #1 in control of this match, the second match of the day on table
fourth
1.
frame.
2-1.
Stuart Bingham to break.
Judd Trump leads Stuart Bingham. The match on table 2 between Matthew Sell and Neil Robertson. Still a lot of deciding to be done over there. 2 each. 46 plays 16 in the decider. The Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel to keep an eye on table 2. As we watch Judd Trump eye up another one of his trademark long reds. And yet again finding its destination, and what a piece of control he's shown there. The pot was good enough, but then to keep the white on the black, superb.
Yeah, the position was actually, for me, more impressive than the pot. The pot, you expect him to get those sort of shots, but the control to stay on the black was fantastic.
Well, he was immediately up off that one and let out a gasp of air. He knew in playing with that black with a little trace of right-hand side to come the right side of the red. Just misjudged the aiming on the black. That's a very uncharacteristic miss from Judd Trump, someone that's very good at that type of shot. So a real reprieve this for Stewart. He's got the perfect angle here to go into the pack should he wish. He doesn't have to play it, but it's a guaranteed split. Previous shot from Stewart went very much a straight, hand on table. Good iron up, red to the green pocket, but what's he played there? Not got into the cue ball enough to come out for the black. Now, has he put himself in trouble? Can he get through to either the blue or the brown? If he can, he's okay. He's nominated the brown. Just drop the cue ball in behind the yellow. Yet again, another big miss hit from Stuart Bingham. Trying to thin off the red, control it to the side of the table, caught it too thin. Cue ball back out. Judd's slightly hampered by the yellow, but pot should be no problem. Doesn't need to do too much with it either.
Seven. Eight. Fifty. Sixty.
So just studying this little cluster of 7 reds around the pink spot. Does the middle one of them pass through the pack to this left corner? A little straight on the black to go into them. Has the one loose red at the top that he can play on. Possibly a plant that he can make to this left corner as well. I think where he's landed, that's very easily makeable. But deciding against it.
20.
This time has landed high up, enough on this black to go into them should he wish. And he's played it very nicely.
30.
Little bonus landing on that one in the middle straight, so he can screw back for the black. Free another red as well.
Well, this is looking like curtains for Stuart Bingham in this match.
40s.
Taking these very nicely again, Judd Trump, although he was let in very easily from Stuart Bingham.
48.
A rare poor safety shot, leaving the red to middle, and this has been the result. Again, a contribution you would just expect from Judd. He's shown us a standard of snooker that we perhaps haven't seen all that often down the years. In recent years, just fancy him clearing up every time he comes to the table. What a brilliant player he's become. Oh, as he's missed the black. A little glance at the score, he's numerically over the line in this frame, but he would have liked to have put that match to bed. He seemed bemused by what happened there.
It's just a shock to the system whenever he misses, Judd, so he looked as shocked as we did.
Sort of gave the black a stare as if to say, how dare you don't go in the pocket? What on earth do you think you're doing?
Stuart will try and pop another red and a black and then look to lay a snook on that last red.
Yeah, it's 2 snookers required for Stewart, but leaving the final red on the table just increases the chances of a free ball. And what I'd like to probably do is send the red down the table and get it close to a baulk colour, or the pink. And get the cue ball in behind the black. But again, it needs to be a good snooker should he lay one. Well, that tells us that he's going to take the red and black here and then try and play for snookers on the yellow.
60.
So, chance to get the cue ball in behind the pink here.
Shooting 26.
Well, over on table 2, Matthew Selt had a glorious chance there to clear up and steal. Potted the yellow, snookered himself behind the brown for the green. Had a big lash up on the green. He hit it, but he left it for Neil Robertson. So it's looking very likely now that the Aussie will get the win over on table 2. What a slog that match has been. We've nearly completed 2 matches here on table 1 in the time that they've finished, and, well, for Neil Robertson, he'll be delighted to get the point on the board. As for Matthew Selt, bitter disappointment that he wasn't able to clear up there. The colours pretty much on the spot, bar the pink and black. Snookered himself behind the brown. And there's that handshake, so that match is all done. Well, not to be for Stuart Bingham. He played on for the snookers, but wasn't able to get them, and Judd Trump just putting the finishing touches in his Judd Trump style here, just smashing them around, inevitably going in the middle of the pockets. It's just an easy game. It's just a very easy game. And here comes the handshake, so it's Judd Trump, the world #1, with a brilliant performance there. 3-1 winner over Stuart Bingham. Back-to-back wins for Judd Trump here. 2 matches played, 2 matches won. The next match up here on table 1 will be between Leicester's very own Tom Ford and the winner of the match just finished on table 2, Neil Robertson. Will be back in a very few moments' time.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the heart of the city of Leicester in the English Midlands. It is the Mattioli Arena, formerly the Morningside Arena, which over the last few years has hosted more snooker, I think, than any other venue on the professional tour. It is today the start of Group 5 of the BetVictor Championship League, and already 3 results are in the books. It's looking good for Judd Trump. Not at his best in either match so far, and yet he's dispatched both Tom Ford and Stuart Bingham by 3 frames to 1. So he's looking good already for a playoff place. I think one more victory over the course of the next 2 days, and he will be in the semi-finals tomorrow evening. It was a drawn-out match between Neil Robertson and Matthew Selt on table 2. Robertson was 2-0 ahead. Selt fought back to 2-2, but in a nervy decider, it was Robertson who got the nod, and so he gets his campaign off to a winning start. And now on table 1, Robertson is pretty much straight back into action against Tom Ford, who badly needs a victory after losing his opening contest against Trump. Over on table 2 right now, it is Joe O'Connor, who made a 147 in this tournament last year, up against Jack Jones. I've just had a chat with Jack. He's well aware he's on for a world record. He's made 20 centuries in the tournament so far. He needs 4 more to break the record that's jointly held by Kyron Wilson and Matthew Selt. That's the record for most centuries by one player in a single professional event. So we'll keep you up to date with how that match is going and how Jones is chasing those centuries. On table 1, though, Rob Spencer, the referee, has done the toss. Robertson and Ford about to square off. And I'm joined for this one by Stephen Horworth. It was noticeable at the end of Robertson's match with Matthew Selt. It was a little frosty out there.
Absolutely. There was a little bit of needle, wasn't there?
Tom, have a good match.
Always makes for very spicy viewing when that's the case. The Thunder coming out on top 3 frames to 2, getting the point in the bag. Breaking off here against Tom Ford. Just on Jack Jones quickly, Phil, I knew he'd made a lot of century breaks in this event so far. I didn't realise he was already on 20. I think, should he do okay over the next couple of days here and possibly feature in another group, he's pretty much a certainty to break that record. What a performance it's been from Jack Jones in this event so far.
Yeah, and one of those 20 centuries was a 147. I think, in some respects, it might put a little pressure on him, and maybe that will be detrimental to his chances of actually winning a group, or indeed staying in the tournament. He's well aware that if he stays in for this group and one more, he probably will break the record. But if he finishes 6th or 7th in this group, well, the chances of a record will recede significantly.
And I must admit, I think I probably cost him about 3 or 4 centuries myself in one of the earlier groups, because he was getting close to 100 tons, and on 99 I made him aware of it in the Players' Lounge, and I think he missed on 90 or 80 a couple of times after that. So yeah, apologies for that, Jack.
So poor old Matt Selt, he's lost his first match, and he could lose a very prized record. Now, Ford has got the advantage here in one respect. He has played on this table previously in this session, whereas Robertson was coming over from table 2. Be interested to get your verdict on this, Stephen. In the first match, Ford and Trump, the cushions were playing slowly. Is that still the case?
They look okay. I think, particularly in the earlier groups, I thought this table 1 was playing very much on the generous side, but there was a couple of shots that Judd played in his last match against Stuart Bingham where he was up very quickly, 2 blacks off spots in particular, and they were sort of gesticulating to one another at the end of the game as to what might have caused that. I don't know if there's maybe a slight drift or something. I'm not too sure. I didn't hear the conversation, but Yeah, maybe they just haven't quite got it just right just yet, but of course we do have a table fitter on site, and any of these little queries over the conditions, they can be rectified pretty quickly.
What?
I think from watching that shot, you'll know that the bed of the table is running quite swiftly. And as Ben Wollaston pointed out, quite often when you recover a table, that's what they've done for the start of this group.
3.
The cushions do play a little slowly, and then gradually they become up to their normal speed.
Yeah, you always know when you get your table recovered down the club or wherever it is you've got your table, the first couple of days you do just need to hit the ball that little bit harder if using the cushion. Sort of quite spongy. Don't quite react off them as quick as you would expect, but there's a lot of snooker to be played over the next 2 days on this table and of course on table 2, so that will sort itself out.
12.
Well, if the rankings are anything to go by, this should be a really close match. Ford is 19th, Robertson 20th.
Thanks.
I was so pleased to see Tom Ford go on and lift the shootout title just before Christmas. Been a dismal season for Tom. He couldn't buy a win. There was a lot going off the table. Of course, he very unfortunately lost his sponsor, Brian Todd, who sadly passed away, and there's just a lot going on for Tom. Snooker was probably not his priority, which is understandable. Winning that shootout has given him a big lift, and hopefully he can kick on from that.
Well, he's had a recent win over Neil Robertson. Last 32 of the Scottish Open. Last month. And that's a shot he plays very well. I made this point in his previous match against Trump. That black off the spot with running side. Some players find that shot a lot simpler than others, and Ford is one of those who has got it down to a fine art.
Yeah, especially on these ultra slippy conditions, that little trace of running side on that shot, it's the unnatural side of the cue ball to strike. That particular instance, it was a right cut. You would tend to play that with a trace of left, and going right on the cue ball can often just cause a few problems for players. We saw Judd Trump, the world #1, miss that exact shot in the previous match.
37.
I agree, Tom plays that particularly well.
It's a very niche point, but I'll tell you another player who plays that shot superbly, Ricky Walden.
So very quickly, Tom looking to stamp his authority in this match. He's got the balls open perfectly for a quick kill in this opening frame. He's a very brisk player when he gets in. I like his rhythm and tempo around the table. He's a very, very heavy scorer as well.
50.
On the exhibition circuit, he's got the nickname Maximum Man because,
50.
of course, the players, they, in between professional tournaments, they go about and do exhibitions in club, and you can pretty much guarantee Tom will make a maximum. Although he did come to my club in Lincoln just before Christmas, and he missed the last black for a maximum.
58.
Should have been made to do the night for free.
$15.
Harsh taskmaster you are. Wow. Black is in. He needs just this most simple of reds. And it's going to be a very quick conclusion to the first frame.
66.
Well over 200 147 breaks now made in professional competition. Ford made one of the most extraordinary, actually. We were up in Aberdeen for the Grand Prix, and it was a round-robin format early on, which didn't really work, but that's by and by. And basically,
70.
he was really ill. He was admitted to hospital with
See if it goes in there.
flu-like symptoms, and
Head's gone.
he actually
Head is gone.
discharged himself from hospital, feeling grotty, turned up and made a 147.
Well, something incredible has just happened there as well. He came around to have a look at that red, knowing that the pink would spot beneath it. He said, I just came around to have a look to make sure it pots into the left corner, and then for some reason played for it into the right corner.
80. $82. $88. Tom Ford, 88.
No century,
On the
but
first.
an 88 break is more than sufficient for Tom Ford to draw first blood against his Australian opponent. The way of things at the BetVictor Championship League is that we have two tables
Second frame. Tom
going
Ford's.
at the same time. Well, on table 2 right now, Jack Jones is lovely in amongst the balls, well placed to take a 1-0 lead over Joe O'Connor. The big question, can he make yet another century? We will keep you informed as and when he succeeds or fails.
Well, it's not very often you say this, but that was a big stroke of fortune from Neil Robertson. He's caught the knuckle of the middle pocket, but the fact that he didn't cannon the blue fuller meant that he left Tom Ford nothing. That was a big touch. Had that cue ball have stayed in the middle of the table, Tom had a very easy starter
Foul.
as he finds the corner
that was
pocket and pushes a red over another.
Now, did that cue ball just taper away from the cushion a little? He thought when he struck that he was going to hit the cushion, the side cushion that is, and have no issue. But it just seemed to drift away from the cushion slightly, enough to go in off. And that made a massive difference.
1.
Yeah, because the poor shot from Neil ultimately hasn't been very costly at all. 2 shots later, he's back at the table nicely in amongst them.
Eight. No.
2 meetings previously in the Championship League for these 2 players. 1 win each. As for other head-to-heads, well, it's 4-2 in favour of Robertson.
60.
Now, that's a ball we didn't expect to be
Robertson,
missed.
16.
Pleasant surprise for Ford, who gets back to the table relatively quickly.
So we're looking at this cluster of reds beneath the pink and how best to attack it at some stage. The pink being off its spot and above the pack is causing slight problems for Tom in terms of getting into the reds from the blue potentially.
8.
Gone a little far for the red to middle for comfort. May can use the pack of reds to screw off for the black. Yeah, it was a blessing in disguise, the shot that he played. He wasn't very happy about the black. Lost the cue ball, but as it happened, it turned out okay. Could use the pack of reds and just push that 1 red into play.
60.
This time taking the chance to play on that pink, in potting it. It will go onto the blue spot. It will still be pottable, but it just means that it's out of the way now in terms of direct access to the pack of reds.
23.
He's got the angle on this red to play back up for it now, and then it will be into the reds.
24.
See, what we've just seen from Tom there was a great example of a player coming to the table and thinking
30.
maybe 5, 6, even 7 shots ahead. He knew that he had 3 or 4 reds in open play, but his idea was to get the pink out the way as quickly as possible. Now, has he been unlucky with this split? Because he struck the reds beautifully.
Yeah, looking at a possible plant, he was scuppered by the last rolling red. Although the plant does look as though it might have come to his rescue. Well, that was a wholesale misjudgment.
Yeah, he's completely turned that one over. He looks confused, but he hit the first red too thick. I think how the reds were set to this right corner pocket, he just had to play the pot on the first red rather than hit it thicker to try and send it the other way. As you say, that was a huge misjudgment, Phil.
What? 7. Eight.
This season has been a lot better for Neil Robertson than last. The highlight, of course, winning the English Open. Overcame Wu Yiza 9-7 in the final.
60.
Went well ahead. Wu produced a storming comeback, but Robertson held on. So these days, if you win one tournament a season, you're doing well. But add to that
20.
a quarter-final place in the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters, semi-final at the Champion of Champions, and last week he beat John Higgins from 5-1 down, 6-5, to make it to the quarter-final of the Masters, where he lost out to the eventual winner, Sean Murphy. So it's been an improvement from Robertson, but I think, Stephen, you would agree, by his standard, it's still not been vintage.
No, far from it. Player of Neil's class, you just expect to be in the latter stages of every event he plays in. Similar to Stuart Bingham, actually, who of course features in this group. He's had a very poor season by his standards, hasn't been past the last 16 of an event, which is an incredible stat as well. So two players that are just searching for a bit of form. Two players far too good to never find it again. Only a matter of time. But it just shows how tough this sport is.
He's a bit of a scatterbrain, is Neil Robertson. That's an understatement. And he got his dates mixed up for the World Open qualifiers, so he's not in that event next month, as he is completely flummoxed by that one.
38.
So next ranking event action for him. He plays Anthony Kowalski in the German Masters next week. Of course, he will be at the Welsh Open as well. So looking to make even bigger strides there as he pulls out the recovery.
39.
Just such a Neil Robertson thing to do, that, isn't it? Miss your match because you've got your dates muddled up. I just cannot understand how that's possible.
39.
Well, the beneficiary was our pal Michael Holt, who had a very pleasing walkover. He wasn't going to say no.
But he's never had any form, Michael. He's never had any luck.
Stephen Hallworth dripping with sarcasm. Give the lad a break.
Well, Neil just came a little unstuck there from that previous pink. He got into the cue ball way too much, to his surprise as well. 29 points to the good. Just trying to...
Neil Robertson, 39.
Well, he would have liked to colour safe there for a bit of insurance. Not quite able to push the brown safe, but he's got a good cue ball.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
News from table 2. Jack Jones won the first frame against Joe O'Connor with a break of 70. from where he was, that's a very acceptable result.
Yeah, that's a brilliant safety shot from Tom. Always had the nice line to get the cue ball up into that corner and was concerned as to where the red ball would finish, but it's finished okay. Well, Neil was able to snip the red in and avoid the black, so okay, Tom got a good cue ball, but he left the possibility at a red for Neil. And a player of his class over that sort of distance, you don't expect him to miss many.
A little unfortunate not to kiss the blue slightly thicker, which would have held the cue ball. No attacking options, but he could place Ford in a lot of trouble here. Probably will.
Yeah, he's got options here, Neil. For me, the priority would be get a coloured ball safe, but he's got an absolutely guaranteed roll up behind the yellow. But for me, you've got to push a ball safe just for a little bit of insurance, because the players are so good that he's probably going to escape from the snooker.
Neil Robertson.
Well, he played the roll up and he's made an absolutely terrible job of it. Not only has he not got the snooker, but he's actually left the red for Tom Ford into the right corner pocket. Well, and he's knocked it in. What a huge mistake that could be from Neil Robertson. He laughs as he sits in his seat, and I can assure you that is a laugh of embarrassment. He's had a couple of shots in his mind there as to what to play, and in the end committed to absolutely none of them.
It's one of the things you see from professionals on a regular basis. Sometimes when it comes to what's the best way forward tactically, even the pros are prone to overthink. So what a turnaround in this frame. Ford arrives on the colours, 14 behind. He needs the lot, but they're all there.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Tom Ford. 16.
Well, I don't really know what to say about that one. Got absolutely nowhere near the pot, Tom. Looked like a huge deceleration, that. What a chance missed.
But Robertson unable to take advantage.
Well, this feels a bit nervy all of a sudden.
Two.
Oh, what a chance now. This is for Tom. This is the exact reason Neil needed to push a colour ball safe. Even if he got the snooker in behind the yellow, you still fancied Tom to hit a red and not leave anything. If there was a colour safe, it just bought him another chance.
Slightly on the incorrect side of the blue, so had to leave a little more distance on the pink.
20.
No problem though. Ford has got the black to double his lead.
27 on the frame.
In Neil Robertson's first match of the day, he led 2-0. This time it's a role reversal. It's Tom Ford who wins the first 2 frames. Tom Ford, he was a hometown hero when he won the shootout last month at this very venue, and now he's on the cusp of defeating Neil Robertson. If he does so, that would tighten up the group. This table massively ahead of the other one. And that brings in the possibility of a quick conclusion. Can Ford do it in one visit?
Another brilliant long red from Tom there. Okay, he was left it from the break off of Neil. It's that red that often pokes its head out. The players often knock in nowadays. Struck it to perfection and instantly navigates his way back down to the business end of the table, purposely playing on the red just above the black, because now he can land his cue ball on the black in such a way to give himself a free shot into the pack of reds, knowing he's got that one loose red to the right of the table. This is a good chance for Tom if this split goes right.
I asked Ben Wollaston the same question that I'm going to ask you now. When he won the shootout, he played it down saying it's not really a world ranking event. Well, I know exactly where he was coming from. I know the sentiment he was trying to convey. But the fact is, it is a world ranking event, and you can't take that away from him.
No, and that's it. You know, it's not his call as to whether it's a world ranking event or not. And look, admittedly, the majority of the tour would probably like to see the shootout as not a ranking event, but for whatever reason that the players have. You know, I personally don't have an issue with it, but it is what it is. And yeah, it was, like you say, Tom's way of sort of downplaying it, but when the history books are there to show what the players have won over their career, when Tom hangs his cue up, he's a ranking event winner, and that's as simple as it gets.
It was reminiscent of the mindset of Anthony McGill when he won the shootout. But it's still a fine achievement.
I think because the players look at that event as a lottery, which I don't believe it is. It's not a lottery. You know, you have to think in a certain way, perform in a certain way, and deal with that environment in a certain way. There isn't many players that can actually do that. Tom is one of them that can, and he has done it. So to say that it's a lottery is not for me. No one's ever won the shootout that hasn't been a steady player.
Getting to the semi-finals a big achievement, Stephen.
Well, I wasn't going to mention it, Phil.
27.
My views on the shootout, I've got no objection to it being a ranking event whatsoever. I think I would have if the prize money was significantly bigger.
28.
But first prize, 50,000. Doesn't make that much difference. And let's face it, it's 4 days of terrific entertainment. It's one of those tournaments you won't want to see 2 or 3 a year, but one, you look forward to it. And Ford will now look forward to making a frame and match winning break after that split.
Yeah, just quickly on what you've said there, I actually would like to see the shootout 2 or 3 times a year, but if that was to be the case, then it shouldn't be a ranking tournament, in my opinion. If they staged a couple throughout the year at different venues, move it around the country or around Europe, wherever it may be, I think it would be a brilliant addition because it brings in a different sort of crowd, brings in new people to the game that may not be that accustomed to, you know, normal snooker. But if it ever went that way, it can't possibly be a ranking event.
So when it comes to a shootout crowd, they would have given him some stick for his positional shot onto the black, and then he would have brought the house down with his recovery. He was lucky to drop where he did, actually.
Yeah, and he held his hand up to Neil just to say sorry for that, because Was a little stroke for Tom there, but that's a terrible shot again. He's up very quickly. Okay, he can still pot this black, but he should not have been as low as this.
Just seemed a little off balance when he played it and maybe just dug into the white. But again, the recovery is faultless. One more crunch ball and he should be home and dry.
49.
Yeah, all things considered, and quite often with Tom, he'll never shy away from expressing his emotions out there and letting you know how he feels, but all things considered, this has been a really good performance from Tom. He's kept the breaks going when he's had to,
50.
and with that red finding its target, this is now looking like a formality.
Quite a simple workout, it seems, for the referee, Rob Spencer. Mind you, he does need some sympathy as a Manchester United fan at the moment.
That is cold, Phil.
65.
Now, is the pink blocking? I think he had to coax that one in with a touch of side, but now it's in. Ford very quickly has arrived at frame ball.
$72. $73.
What a big turning point in this match that last frame was. That shot on the yellow from Neil, failing to roll in behind it when he was pretty much a certainty to go one each on 60 points up.
81.
Just goes to show how quick these matches can turn around.
Yes, and then missing the yellow with the rest, which normally would not be a problem at all.
88. 89.
What a contrast for Robertson. That drawn-out 3-2 win over Matt Selton, then this
95.
match over in a flash.
Brilliant clearance this potentially for Tom if he can mop up these remaining balls. A chance to just set a marker for the high break as well.
100.
By my count, that's only his 4th century of the season, which shows you how much of a struggle it's been for Tom. Player of his class, knocking big breaks in all the time. He's looking to just play his way back into form now.
112.
This has been a great match for him to win.
Yeah, you're right, it is only his 4th of the campaign. It's his 297th in professional competition, so maybe he'll arrive at a personal milestone during this group.
190.
Become a member of the 300 club.
$124.
It's a £500 highest break prize for the top run in every group.
130.
And 137 has got a chance.
$137 the frame and the match.
137 it is. And so, Tom Ford, who began the match nicely with a break of 88, then wins the second on the black. It's a total clearance in the third, and he defeats Neil Robertson by 3 frames to 0. So a real turnaround for Ford, who lost that opening contest 3-1 to Judd Trump. It means a swift conclusion to the first session here today. There you see 2 3-1 wins for Trump a little earlier, and then the quickest match of the lot, Ford overcoming Robertson. Robertson investing a lot, of course, into that 3-2 win over Matthew Selt. On table 2 right now, Jack Jones, after a 70 break in the first frame, leads Joe O'Connor 1-0, and Jones is also 56 in front with 3 reds left in the second frame. So it looks as though, and he's just doubled the third last red, by the way, so he will take a 2-0 lead. Still to come on table 2 in this session, Matthew Selt against Joe O'Connor, and you can see all of the table 2 action over on the dedicated YouTube channel. So this is the group table as it stands. Judd Trump, number 1 in the world rankings, number 1 in the BetVictor Championship League snooker table right now. 2 matches played, 2 points on the board. Ford and Robertson also have a victory. Still very early days, of course. As for us, well, we'll be back at 4:30 local time. And what a blockbuster contest we've got first up here on table 1. It's Judd Trump against Neil Robertson. So look forward to your company then. Until now, from Leicester, it's goodbye.